Todd works for the Duchess Group? Duchess? I got the pronunciation. It used to be called Explain. Okay, and he's been with them for the past year. The IE Business School, Madrid, adjunct faculty, and communication and innovation.
While we're setting up here, can I get you guys to set up like these guys? And maybe get some full tables. So we have about 4 to 6 people at each table. Can I give you that task while I got this task? Is that cool? Awesome. James couldn't make it, so he asked me to pinch hit for him. I've been working with him for a while at Explain. And just to prove how close James and I work, he signed my copy of Gamestorming as the only man I've ever loved. So I guess, I don't know what that says, but we work together a lot. So I didn't write the book at all, but I certainly know a lot of these exercises. I do them all with clients all the time. So I'm going to move around. If you need me to slow down, just tell me.
I'll find you.
I tend to try to do lots of
No problem.
as energetic as I can. For the Twitterers in the room, you can use the hashtag gamestorming. I'm IMC Todd. You can also search that Twitter feed, Twitter hashtag of gamestorming anytime when there's any sort of gamestorming event. Sometimes, and you may find links to postings, etc. So feel free to use that as well. So let's talk about a scenario. I love that I heard about games and a little bit of agile. It was really cool. How many of you have been in a meeting? Yeah? Oh, cool. Me too. So, but right, and there's all different types of meetings, right? There's the problem-solving meeting. Like, we got to fix this, right? What other kind of meetings are there? And I'll look for responses from you guys. What?
Planning.
A planning meeting. What other kinds of meetings do you have?
Blaming.
A blaming meeting. A decision-making meeting. Yeah, I think I have one of those here. The status meeting, right? And then my favorite one, the meeting about meetings.
On rare occasion, an effective meeting.
Rare occasion effective meeting. Yeah. And what are meetings? What are meetings? People talking, right? Coming together and talking, right? And so really you got a bunch of people, smart people usually in the room. And you've got to do, and they've got to come to a decision, right? What are we, decision, something has to happen. So there's some reason. We just talked about a couple of examples, right? And how many people like meetings? How many people love meetings so much they want to go to them all the time? Raise your hand. I have one person out of, what, 60 that really love meetings. So what does that tell you? What's wrong with meetings? What's that?
She runs them.
She runs the meeting, okay. Right, so what does that tell you, though, if only 1 out of 60 really like to go to meetings? Yes!
They're broken?
Meetings are broken. How do we fix them? Don't have them. Excellent. Good thing. Do we need to have the meeting? Excellent, excellent, excellent question. A lot of times you don't have to. And I know a lot of you folks are here very skilled at Agile, which has really rethought how meetings are actually run, right? I love the whole stand-up concept. I think it's brilliant. So there should be some things going around. Hopefully everyone gets some stuff, because I don't like meetings. I don't like it when people just sort of sit down and listen passively. So that's why I'm going to try to get you to talk. And then soon I'm going to stop talking and you're going to start doing. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun with that. And sometimes, have you ever heard of the chaos of creativity? You know what I mean when I talk about that? Like sometimes things are chaotic. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on with this, right? And so we're going to try to think if we can have meeting 2.0, all right? How would you like to be meeting Jedi? This is a Dave Gray slide.
Yeah.
Very much a Dave Gray slide. But a lot of it starts with energy, okay? And so you think about a concept of a fire. You got a campfire, forest fire. Two same things, very different structures, okay? Both of them need a spark to start. They both need some kind of fuel. There's a structure behind them. But the output could be very, very different depending on what the actual structure is, and what the input is. Okay, we're going to talk about how to structure this, how to structure your meeting so you can get the output you need. So you're not going around in circles, you're not having the meeting about the meeting, and maybe you actually might look a little more forward to going to that meeting. Again, a little bit of apology, I'm pinch hitting here, so some of these slides are Dave's. this is really important. What is the result you want of that meeting? So the question when somebody said, why are we having the meeting? Do we need to have a meeting? Definitely ask that question. Do you need to meet today? Do you need to meet for this particular reason? What is it that we want? What are we getting out of it? What's our output? Really think about that. These are a few examples of common examples. Can anyone think of any more that might not be here?
Meeting because we met last week, and we met the week before, and we met the week before.
Meeting because we meet every week, and we just keep meeting every week because we meet every week, right? But why are we meeting every week?
Celebration.
Celebration, exactly. Birthday party. Right. And so I heard talked about agile games. It's great. And one of the things that we're going to try to do is how do you take game mechanics and put them into a meeting and merge those two together? Because people like playing games. Just innately as humans, we like to play games. There are all different types of studies around this. That when you game, anyone hear the word gamification? Yeah, sort of becoming a popular thing, right? You have good examples of things that have been gamified? No? What's that? Politics has been gamified. Thinking about tasks that you need to get done. Yes?
Travel.
Sorry?
Travel.
Travel. How so?
Well, I need you every board.
Yeah.
Get badges.
Okay.
Certain privileges.
Yep.
You
What
learn
else?
a lot.
Yeah.
Online healthcare system.
Healthcare system, right?
Well, actually, the user, not actually like your stats or anything.
Right, but what about like the like Foursquare?
Go to the bar.
You're the mayor of the particular bar, right? You're the mayor of the Agile New England meeting, right? There's a game there, and it becomes fun and it's interesting, and you can do things with that. So we want to try to think of how to do the same thing on top of our meetings. Okay, so this is gamestorming. This book. We got 4 to give away. I'll let these folks figure out how you want to give them away. It's a collection of structures to actually put together a meeting and try to get that output that you're looking for. Okay? So what's a game? How do you define a game? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? 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 Yes?
It has to have a clear goal.
They have a goal. Okay? What else?
Rules, structure.
Heard over here, back here. There's a set of rules, right? What else?
Players.
You got players, you got rules, you got goals, yes?
You know how to score it.
Yeah, you got to know how to score. A little bit of the rules, yeah? Right, and all the way in the back.
Should be fun.
Say that again?
Should be fun.
Should be fun! Last one.
Winners and losers.
What's that?
Winners and losers.
Winners and losers, maybe. Not every game's a zero-sum game. Sometimes you can have different things, right?
Start on that.
There's a beginning and an ending point. Yes, there's a beginning and an ending point, right? So let's think about the game of like Life or Monopoly, like board game, right? There's some world that you're playing in, right? So let's think about the game world. There's some boundaries, okay? You've got a goal, yes, so good for the goal, all right? You've got some rules you're gonna play by. Then I think you've got some artifacts, some things that you actually play with. Maybe it's basketball, it's just the ball itself in the basket, right? And you got players, okay? Monopoly is a great example. You can take this as an analogy. What if this was, let's put this into a meeting. Who are our players? The participants, all right? What are our artifacts? Well, maybe things that are created on a whiteboard, things that are created on sticky notes. All right, what are the rules? We get to set the rules. The agenda, maybe? How to craft that agenda? Yeah? Okay. There's a journey. What happens first? What happens second? What happens third? Where are we going? What happens on that journey? Okay? We started A. We're going to B. We have a goal. Is it a straight line? Yes. Thank you. I also teach at a business school. And they go, oh yeah, of course it is. It's just the best thing to do. It's the most efficient. You got to go from straight line, and it's not. Right? You got to figure out how to get there. It looks a lot like this. You've ever heard of the design squiggle? How many have seen the design squiggle? Yes. It's this sort of like they call this the fuzzy front end. You're not quite sure exactly what's going on. Maybe we're going backwards or going up and down, but eventually you kind of figure it out and get there. Right? And that first part's kind of squishy. kind of uncomfortable sometimes because there's an uncertainty to it. That uncertainty, people don't like uncertainty. It makes them feel a little uncomfortable. And how do they react to that? How do they navigate that? And so we break this down into 3 different parts. This is that structure where it can maybe help you feel a little more comfortable in navigating that uncertainty. So the first part is the opening, divergence. So we start here, we're going to open things up. Then we're going to explore a little bit in our meeting. Okay? Convergent thinking, try some different things, and then we're going to close things down. Now this may not necessarily be start of meeting, end of meeting. Okay? It could be, this is start, this is somewhere in the middle, and then we go back to here. So we're diverging and converging through the whole meeting to figure out how to break out ideas and then how to close down and decide on them. Make sense? Yeah? Good. Want to try one? Yeah. Awesome. Good. So everyone should have at least a couple sheets of the big paper. And has anyone ever had to communicate something, like do a presentation to anybody? Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game called Who Do. Yeah, exactly. Who. So we're going to write a list. Well, we're going to write a list. It's a pretty simple game, but on one side we're going to have it's just a big column of who are we giving that presentation to? Who are they? And if you can get to like titles, that's really good. The more specific you can get the title, the better. So I want you within your groups, I'm going to give you about 5 to 10 minutes. So write WHO, a line, and then start writing things about like, all right, in the next presentation I need to talk to these people. Who do we need to talk to? Okay, we'll get to the do part in a minute. Just start writing a list of who. On the big page, yeah. I'll draw a quick example of what it needs to look like. It'll have to look something like this. Who? Alright? And just start writing titles, names, and there's no wrong answer here at this point. Just start writing who you need to present to.
Would we all have the same goal?
Pick one. Somebody pick like, all right, I need to present to X, Y, Z. And who do I need to talk to?
Let's say business is expanding and you want to hire more.
Oh, working a company. Okay. That's cool. Working a company together. Business is expanding and we need to present to the board. Or
So we need to make a list of it. I mean, you may need to talk to facilities, you may need to talk to you may need to talk to
things are growing and we're not sure what to do. We're gonna present. Alright. Sounds good.
You can take a real example from the 3 of you. You could have one.
You're comfortable? Sure. So he'd be the COO. Chief Operating Officer.
Anybody else in the meeting?
Not that I know of. That's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily a great example. But I could see the well, no, this is my boss's boss.
I know, but yeah, your boss.
So yeah, so who else could be the partner? So the CFO.
So you got 60.
Yes.
60.
Takes a moment because I have to tell the hey cheerleader. Yes. So who then to excite about the product?
So it looks like most people have a list.
People who are printing world peace.
A bunch of titles, people we need to talk to.
People working on a
Now we're going to think about
people against peace.
what do we want these people to do after the presentation. So after we give this talk, after we have this short presentation, what actions? And this is going to be a little trickier. What actions do we want them to take? How do we want them to think? And that do can also be a thought do. Like what's going to go on in their mind? How are they going to think differently? And what actions? And if you can get to micro actions, like I want them to call Joe and set up a meeting with him and Jenny so that we can take this project to the next step. Something like that. Question?
So is it a blanket one? Is it like per who would have a different take?
It doesn't have to be one. It could be multiple. It could be multiple. So yes. So the do could apply to a bunch of them, or it could apply to only one. But try to do each one individually. So take, for example, here they talked about the board. So just take them and say, well, what do you want them to do? And it could be like 5 or 6 things. And you may see patterns emerge over time. And actually, you probably should see patterns emerge over time because there's certain things that you want a collective action to happen. But take them individually at first. Okay? So I'll give you guys about another 5 minutes to start thinking about what do you want these people to do.
These are like the educate. We're educating.
So you want them to understand?
We want to understand this current status is going to be a thing that's happening day by day. And they want to understand the pieces. Not everybody has the visibility of all the pieces that we put together.
Understanding the current status is something for everyone to do.
Right.
Is that something that everyone?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's kind of a cross-cutting concern.
How is that going to be measured?
Well, there's a list of pieces that are supposed to be working on the list. So there's user flows. You can put all these pieces together and you go through the user flow.
These guys who are going to...
Well, so presumably we've gotten them committed.
Well, we don't have them committed, so
We want them
get
to
committed. So we need the B.
Ongoing support for it.
Well, we don't need your commitment. We want you to. We want you because you're the business analyst. So you understand what needs to be done for the business. Because you notice the business people aren't here. These are kind of like whatever. So we need, as a business analyst, you need to come back and. By the way, did you like the architect has to walk on water? That's the goal for it.
Okay, that's great.
It sounds like you need my persuasion.
I need you to persuade them and to explain what's the
Internal
persuasion and explanation.
Yes. And you need to talk just like them.
So you're the person who's
We want them to see exactly what's making them. Or even systems about the business value. See business value of it.
What do you want them to do?
We want them to register.
We want them to think about the value.
Value that they're going to get in order to when they come back.
For me, when I'm thinking about your question about the value, is start thinking about how I would work it into my work situation.
Yeah. What are you going to get out of that? What's the business value you're going to get out of that?
Imagining
So when you
the
come back to work,
application.
how
Yeah,
can you be?
how do you apply
How do you apply it? Yeah.
Okay. So, but he's going to basically do something with that data. Yes. And so the reason why I'm asking this is I'm trying to get to something that's a little bit more of a micro action. Because selling a proposal is something that is a bit vague, and it's something that is maybe a desired outcome. But for something for this person to do, the VP of engineering to do immediately after the meeting, what are his first steps to do that? Who's he selling it to? Does he have to call and arrange a meeting with somebody? Phone call, make an email. That's what the specificity that I'm trying to just guide you toward at this point. It's just a way of sort of thinking like, oh yeah, what are they going to do?
Well, but maybe the interest is.
Try.
So he's going to have to start.
I want you to say something about, yeah, say something about David. Yeah, say something about David.
One of many I've never watched. So he's going to have to start socializing. So he's going to have to start getting on TV.
Just, if you could step back a second, I mean, does everybody in this group agree that there's a problem? Is there going to be, is this meeting going to have a lot of, is it a task of the meeting just to get them to agree on why it's a problem, or we should spend money on doing it, or who's going to work on it?
There'll be a problem with we have enough understanding of this that's the same understanding of what's here, so that the whole team is kind of understanding the same thing, right? Because otherwise what typically happens is this goes to here, you get a wonderful, these guys have a wonderful understanding, this goes to here, they have a wonderful understanding, and
all right, how's it going? How you doing? You got a good list? Yeah? Well, they're going busy, leave me alone. Good. So there's a couple, a really interesting question that came over here.
We wanted to know, is the process agile? Does this represent cycles, multiple cycles, one cycle, or is it not agile? And we found that it's really up to us.
Right, so the second question in that was, is this agile? It's like, well, in some senses, yes. In thinking that it's linear, or is it circular? So I love that you sort of brought that context back to this tool. So it could be, I think it could be used for either. The point here is we're in that, we're back a few here, right? We're just putting a whole bunch of different people and what we want them to do afterwards, right? So we're sort of like, we're diverging, right? Yeah, diverging. I always get them mixed up. So we're diverging right now, we're opening up, okay? And so now let's think about like, all right, so can any of these be boxed? Right? Can any of them, did you start seeing patterns? You know, over there's like, yeah, we wanted these people to give us money. We want these people to show up and pay us money. And so we had some patterns over there about being very financially focused, I think was the phrase. And you might see that. And maybe you think, well, maybe do these two people need to see the same message? Maybe can we box them together? Right? And so at that point, what we can do is you can say, well, we can start converging on them. So maybe we say, all right, we're not going to converge down to one, but you say, well, you know what? The VP of engineering and the director of engineering, even though they're going to be in the room, they still have a very engineering lens. They're going to need to receive things through a very engineering point of view. And we don't necessarily have to write everything out specifically for the two individuals. We're going to be able to say, well, that covers engineering. See what I'm saying? Right? So there's one way that you actually can start thinking about how to box them together. Okay? There's another way to do that. That may not necessarily work as well in this exercise. We can actually assign dollar values. So let's go back to the financially driven team over there. Is if I were to give you $100 and say you've got nice. If no, the key word was being if, right? And I was going to say, all right, if you were to put a dollar value on those people, actually let's do that. Let's put a dollar value. You got $100, and you got to spread it across these people. So you're going to put, if you have 5, you're going to put 20 on each, or are you going to weigh some more than the others? Okay. You're going to assign a value to the group. Like these people need to. It's just one way. The whole idea is it's one way to try to either weight these people or not. This is a way to sort of value things. So you're not necessarily saying, if I've got a list of 20 people, it's really hard to present to 20 very different types. You've got to chunk it down somewhere. This is one way to still chunking it down. Like, I know in fact, these are the 3 most important people I need to speak to. I can forget about the rest and focus on crafting my talk.
Well, so that's why I asked the question, is this what is the dollar amount represent the relative weight of, like, if I'm trying to convince him and he's the key player.
Right. So you might say, well, you know what?
That would be like 60.
I'm going to put $60 in this guy just because. All right. He's there. But I also know that CFO is pretty important too.
Actually, no.
Whatever.
Believe it or not. Right, but I get it. Okay, so it's it's a way. It's like story points.
It's kind of a way for you guys to be like, all right, because you've got a short list.
Yep.
But some people have like the whole thing full. Right. If you were to try to make a presentation to these 20 different people, right? You may, what's your focus? Right? How are you going to focus on? So you may want to think about, like, oh, I need to focus on appeasing this guy and appeasing, this person or those type of things. And that was just a way for you to start converging. Yes. Right? So you think like, wait a minute, so I can just sort of take these other people away and I can focus on these three guys. These are the three people that I want to focus on creating this presentation. It's just one way to try to lock it down.
So it's 60, 20.
Yeah, that's the decision.
10 for the CFO, right?
The CFO is just the.
I'm sure this is the guy giving the presentation.
No, that's me.
Yeah.
Right, but no, these are, in other words, I'm not going to make the decision. This guy, he has to buy in, but he will if he basically says to, and then I gotta, huh?
Right. I don't have to.
My thought about the Security Council was that we have to, in order to get for that to be effective, we have to persuade the countries whom they are representing, because the people who are actually sitting on the Security Council are not just making things up on their own. They're doing what their bosses tell them to. Okay. And so going for the bosses, like that one.
We're missing people here too.
Yeah, we
when we did this, I was thinking us, but then I thought,
yeah,
all of us think.
Yeah, right.
But that's what you're talking about.
Yes,
Influencing.
right. Right.
But then again, if you look at this point, maybe the value that goes into them, and then that determines how much you go down.
Yeah, so right, and so you could certainly say that putting influence in here, and here, for example, is going to affect how at least the United States acts on the UN Security Council. That may make a difference. Okay. Now you would want to do this. You would want to do the same thing. See, the United States is one of the members that has a veto. So, if nothing else, if you need to get the UN Security Council to do something,
they keep what?
Okay, so if you put that
And
sort
it
of
is.
thing,
It's coming up with the plan.
all the permanent
Yeah. So one kind of this, they test semiconductors. So we test the chips in your phone. We test auto assembly lines. So a lot of engineers, and they build their own applications on the testers. Once we sell the testers, we charge a big one. Texas Instruments.
The priority should be based on a combination of how valuable it would be if they one time
So if your division would say, this thing, it would seem like you're probably maybe a VP of product or something. So, yes, division has a VP of product. Now you can start thinking, this. So if you look at that, you're looking at selling it to the CEO, so you can get a nod of approval with some kind of sponsors, internal or externally, and then you want consumers to kind of go and sign up. Actually, the providers would be so bad.
And the writer. Well, you have to have good writers.
The other one
I think an involvement with the sponsor is undervalued. I talked to our panelists today.
What just happened? What did we do?
Was that the goodness of their own heart?
How do we? Can I get everyone's attention back here? So what did we just accomplish?
Stakeholder analysis.
You just did in about 20 minutes a full stakeholder analysis for the presentation you're going to do, right? You've identified exactly who you need to target, you have identified what you want them to do afterwards, and you've narrowed it down to the important players. So you can focus on them. All right? The $100 was just a game. It was a game for you to think about, to go through a mental exercise to say, well, who do we really need to focus on for this presentation? Now, there's a whole bunch of things we could have done before that to set you up to that, in terms of what are your goals, etc., what's your key message. But this was just to throw you into the situation and give you a sense of how do you diverge and how do you converge by using a couple different games. hoodoo is one, and the $100 test is another. Okay? There's a couple different things you can do. And the good book has tons of them. All right? So we're going to do one more. And we're going to sort of take this to the next step here. But we're gonna step inside one of your who's head. Oh. Some people are like, whoa. So I gotta say, you guys are a really fun group because some people were doing the Academy Awards. Some people were doing the UN Security Council. So yeah, this is fun stuff. So what I want you to do, black pen. I want you to draw a circle on the paper, big circle. New sheet. Big circle in the middle of the paper. Big circle right in the middle. Alright. I want you to kind of drew an X, but with dotted lines. Alright? Sort of like just an X with dotted lines here. This thing? No. Then I want you to draw a half circle here. Another half circle here. All right. Then I want you to draw a slightly bigger half circle on the other one. Then a little dot. And then a little line. Oh look! What did you do? You just drew something. How many people here can draw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, not bad. Usually when I do this to adult groups, there's like maybe less than 5% raise their hand, but you guys are not bad. You guys are like 10 and 20. That's cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take one of our who's. We're going to select. So give me a name of one of your who's. The board. If this was the board. Okay. This is a board member. Okay. Does he have a name? He or she? Steve. Steve? Stelmer. So this is the board member Stelmer, and we want to know what he's going to think. What does he see? What does he say? What does he hear? And what goes here? Feel. Yes. What does he feel? Heart. What do you feel? Okay. So start somewhere up around and think, and go clockwise, counterclockwise, and think about, okay, now what is Stelmer, the board member? What's his world today? Before you give that presentation, what is his world like? Now maybe some of you do this with your users. If you do user testing, you think like, what's this user have? All right? Try to think about what's, and a lot of times the thinking is a lot of times, what questions do I have? What questions are in their head? Can you put yourself in their shoes? This is called an empathy map. Okay? Empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. We're gonna put ourselves in their shoes for a few minutes. Okay?
Is this before the meeting?
This is good question. Great question. This is. Can I just get everyone's attention? This is before your presentation. Before that meeting. Okay? Where are they at beforehand? Okay? So I'll give you guys about another 7 minutes to try to 7 to 10 minutes to fill this out. Okay?
Business is doing great. We're making money. We got more customers.
So that's what he's thinking.
It's busy.
Go ahead. Get closer. That's what he's thinking.
So this would be C. So if this is before, or is it probably during?
He said before.
Depends on where they are before the game. We're supposed to, maybe we hope that they see the need to expand before they even start the meeting. That's not what we're seeing.
seeing is what you're actually visually seeing. How are you supposed to know what they're looking at before
He sees a bustling company with a lot of products.
That's like what's on the surface, what's obvious probably.
Okay. So, company is busy, people are over.
Is that what he's thinking, or is that what he's hearing? You think that's what he hears, or that's what he's thinking?
That's what he said. Well, I mean, that's what he's thinking. It's still. Why isn't it done?
So he's thinking things are chaos.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Well, no, is he thinking about the cost?
Well, I think what he's thinking about is the schedule, because he thinks he's got a schedule that has to be done at a certain time, and we're slipping. Schedule slipped. Thinking about schedule slipping. Right, he sees the schedule. Well, I mean, I don't know, and he's thinking about that as well. So he sees the schedule slip.
I guess because two S things here.
Seeing like a lot more efficiency in the team, like them coming back with more ideas and becoming more efficient somehow.
That's if she's thinking positively about it.
Yeah. No, because she's getting all kinds of materials. So first, like how much it's going to cost, but also saying the benefits of it. So.
I think she's seeing the effectiveness of her company slipping. Because that's why she's exploring actual costs.
No, GBC.
What is that? Yes.
Good Christian bitches.
Yeah.
I can edit that out.
Yeah, we know.
Company. And also another thing you think about is what is he not seeing? What is he not seeing at all? Think about that way too. Yeah. Because that will feed into what's going in their brain.
So you're asking me to do this real time.
Sure.
Probably 2 weeks earlier than I'm ready for.
This will help you do your real bang-up job.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually that got me thinking, but I don't have the answers that I'm looking for. It's just thinking what the questions are, which is why it's a useful thing. What I don't know, you guys are finding this, but I'm finding this useful.
Concerns, right? Which are more specifically complaints about change. In general, just things are changing. Pushback using new systems.
He's certainly feeling.
Concern.
Is he hearing kind of new things he wants to try?
All right. So how did that go? How did that go for you guys? Did you get any insights? Did you learn anything new that you might not have before? Yes. But that's good. So you were getting questions, and it was helping you think through your presentation before you were doing it, right? Good. Any other insights we got? Over here.
It's hard to look at it from somebody else's point
Oh
of view.
yeah. Sometimes it's hard to put ourselves in those and really because we're so in our own world, we actually have we force ourselves to do that. We're like, whoa, wait, this is kind of hard to do. Yeah, sometimes it is. Any other questions?
Feeling some empathy for him, all right.
Yeah.
Feeling empathy.
You're feeling empathy for this person. Good, good. Because, and this from a presentation context is, this is sort of, we understand where the recipient is of the message before we try to transmit anything to that person. We'll get a better sense of what to actually transmit in the first place. Communication's got two ways. But this, again, this is a bit of a game, so we're doing sort of this opening part, right? Like, what are all these different things? Right? So we went back and opened again, of like, who is this person? So we opened with the who do, we closed with the $100 test, we opened again in the empathy map, trying to figure out all these different things. But he has something really interesting. He's like, well, I had all these questions. And so what to do? You're probably going to have all these questions about, well, all those questions are going to be things that you're going to have, either answers or things that you're going to have to construct and put together to string together for your presentation, right? So now it's starting to tell you what you need to do. So what could we do here to then close this out? So we could do the $100 test maybe if you want to sort of say, all right, we've got all these different points on our empathy map. We need to weigh them out. Could be one way to do it. Another way to do it could be just take a colored marker, do something called dot voting. Have you guys done dot voting? Yeah, dot voting. You say, all right, I'm gonna, let's see, this is important, this is important, this is important. Well, this was important too. And you start thinking about, all right, well, now we've just started converging from all this different stuff down to stuff that is more manageable. So somewhat of an unmanageable number to a more manageable number that we can now think about. Then we can take this and put that into our presentation. Okay? So we review, we open, we explore, we close. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, that has to be the whole meeting, but that's sort of how gamestorming can sort of help put things together for your next meeting. So what questions can I have? What have we learned? What did you learn today? What did you learn in the last 45, 50 minutes?
This might be interesting for retrospectives.
Good for retrospectives. Okay. What else did you learn? Structure for a meeting. Yes.
How to present it to the person you're trying to convince. If it's a CFO, then you got to put things in dollars and cents. What's the cost? What's the return on investment?
Yeah.
What do we do? What happens? What's the cost if we don't do this? What's the risk if we don't do it?
Gives you a better sense of their world, right?
If we don't do it now, the competition's going to beat us, and we're going to lose X dollars.
Yeah. So one of the courses that I teach in business school is a communication course on presentation. So it's probably one of the reasons why I gravitate towards these exercises, because I do them a lot with my classes. What else did you learn today? Yes.
This helps. Oh, sorry. This helps with anticipating what the play of the meeting could be.
Yeah. Cool. What else?
I like just the whole strategy of diverging, exploring, converging.
Yeah. But there's boundaries around it, right? And you, as somebody who's running a meeting, can start putting those boundaries around it to say, hey, we're going to do this. These are the boundaries. We're diverging right now. And then the golden rule is there's a distinct line here. So you don't converge when you're diverging. And a good example of that is, as you were listing out the who-dos, somebody said, wow, that's the same person as this, that doesn't matter, or they're not as important. Right there, somebody, whether it was you or somebody else, that's starting to converge on something when you're in the middle of diverging. So the point is, separate them. Be very clear about separating them and identify if somebody tries to do that. Say, hey, wait, we'll get there. We've got a structure to converge. Let's just keep diverging right now. Okay? Good point. What else? What else did you learn today? Anyone? Bueller?
Teamwork.
Converging right now.
We're converging, right. We're also doing a little bit of retrospective. Like what did we learn? Oh yeah, okay. Yes, in the back.
applying gaming techniques to problem solving.
Yeah, cool, good. Anything else? Any other insights? Yes. Scenario building. Putting a scenario together for your meeting. Okay. How will you guys? So the next question is, how are you going to? Oh, one more.
Metaphors can be very powerful.
Metaphors can be powerful. Cool. So now the question is, not only what did you learn, but now what are you going to take away from tonight to the next meeting? What are you going to do differently the next meeting you have to run that you were thinking about? I was dreading this meeting, but now what are you going to do differently? Yes.
Think about the end goal that I want the meeting to achieve, and then find a different way to achieve it.
Okay.
Right?
Consider the end goal first before having the meeting. What else are you going to do differently?
Try to focus it so you spend less time in the meeting.
Great. What else?
Have fun.
Have fun. Thank you. Have a little fun. Right? What else? Anything else? Yes, I heard one. A little louder. No? Okay, over here. Right over here, right over here, right over here.
Evangelize games.
Evangelize games. Okay, cool. Great. Well, thank you very much. This was definitely fun for me, and I hope informative for you. I know it was a last-minute thing for us to sort of pinch hit, so I hope this was useful for you guys. Feel free to, we got a few of these. How do you want to give these away?
Oh, we have a method.
Oh, you
Don't
got a
you
method.
worry, we have a
All right.
game.
You got a game?
Yeah, we have a game.
All
It's
the more
called
better.
Fill Out the Feedback Forms.
Great, great. Well, hey, thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.